Hello, this is John Patterson with EDAD Course 6394, Advancing Educational Leadership. I'm going to be discussing a teacher support plan based off the outline that I did regarding a teacher observation that I found on YouTube. It's from Miss O'Connor's class. I believe she's a teacher from California. And let's dive into it. All right, so number one, kind of analyzing her in her classroom. I really feel like she'd be classified as a phase 3 teacher, give or take. And so that's important as we go through this coaching process, is identifying where we need to start and then following those steps to help her improve. So number one, she does a couple really good things. She greets the students at the door. I feel like she could be a little bit more positive instead of just passing out and giving directions. I feel like she could kind of help build that culture, because building the culture in the hallways is so important, is just like in the classroom. She does a great job. She clearly explains the activity and expectations. She has excellent classroom management. Her attention grabbers and her transitions are awesome. She models the lesson. It's a mathematics class on percentages. She gives the students choice. She gives them the use of 3 different ways to calculate a percentage. Lets them choose. And I feel like she had appropriate questioning. We're going to discuss that here in a second, but it was appropriate. It was pretty average. We're going to discuss that, but she did question the kids, which was good. She allowed for individual practice. Let the students, and she kind of guided that individual practice, but she gave them different numbers and helped them calculate percentages individually. And then she also did group practice. They played bingo. I think she did a great job of providing the opportunity for the students to explain and coach each other on the directions on all the activities, as well as her direction. And she clearly transitioned from one activity to next, which was great. And that they did. The students they had a chance to do a matching activity, and then at the end she recapped the lesson and ended with an exit ticket. So, I think she did a great job of building a lesson, and so we're going to kind of dive into what this looks like in phase 3. So. All right. First, in engaging every student, there's kind of 2 categories here, and the first one is teacher builds momentum. Does the teacher motivate students to complete the task? I feel that she does, and that she did. I believe most of the students were on task and were trying to complete the task, whether they had the skills to do so or not. And then the pacing, I thought, was pretty good. It wasn't too fast. It wasn't too slow. I feel like it could perhaps speed up, but she took her time being clear with directions, which I think is so imperative. So it was sufficient pacing for the subject and grade level. Going to the kind of next category, you have management trajectory. So we've got 3 subcategories here. We have, first one is engage all students. So most of the students were participating, but not all. There was probably a couple on the outside of the class, and sitting around the perimeter of the classroom that were probably struggling. And unless she went to those students, there's no way to tell whether or not they were learning and practicing their skills. So I do feel like there's some room for improvement there. So second subcategory is narrate the positive. Describe what students do well. She does a great job of providing whole group feedback, as well as a little bit of individual feedback, just on doing a good job. And the third category is individual student corrections. And you'll see in the video that she does a good job of individual student corrections. She moves from one group to another, provides feedback, answers questions, and corrects when necessary. So that was good. She responded. So the third main category is respond to student learning needs. This is what we're going to kind of focus on primarily right now. Is does the teacher respond to student learning needs? So there's 2 subcategories. It's habits of evidence and check for whole group understanding. So This is where I feel like she has the greatest room for opportunity. Habits of evidence is the teacher they teach students to identify and cite evidence. And obviously you can tell when you watch the video, students are struggling to articulate why they chose a specific format to calculate a percentage. Providing, they know how to do it, but providing that evidence to support their learning is something she's going to have to build into her lesson and figure out how to collect that data, right? And then same thing. So check for whole group understanding. She does a good job of asking blanket questions to the whole group, but where she's got a huge opportunity to improve is creating and designing a lesson where she is providing opportunities to gather evidence either individually or as a whole group to create data that she can use to provide intervention in real time and or give feedback. Okay, she does a good job of probing, but there was the only systematic approach that she had in her lesson to collect evidence of student learning were their cards that they're gluing into the notebooks. So this is good for her moving forward to the next day, but it did not provide her an opportunity to be able to provide real-time intervention in that class. And so that is a very higher level teaching and learning process, but I feel like she's well on her way. The class was very, very structured. It was, her classroom management was superb, and so all she's really got to work on is developing a higher level of questions with activities that allow her to collect evidence to give feedback in real time, and not necessarily maybe the next day or whenever she has the opportunity to check their notebooks or their cards. So that's basically in conclusion. That's kind of the direction that she needs to move. And if I was her appraiser, that's the direction we would go. Is how can we collect evidence to provide intervention and feedback for the kids in that class period where they can apply that feedback.